Let's talk about AI. If you've been paying even a little bit of attention, I bet your head is spinning from all the terms flying around. LLM, generative AI, AI agents, they all kind of sound the same, but they're really, really not. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to build a super simple, clear framework so you know exactly what each one is, what it does, and why it actually matters.
Okay, before we jump in, a really quick but important heads up. We're about to break down concepts that have huge real-world implications, for projects, for finances, the whole deal. But please remember, this is all for educational purposes. It is absolutely not financial advice, and you should always do your own research.
And look, if you're feeling a bit lost in all this, you are definitely not alone. When this framework was first being discussed online, one of the top comments just hit the nail on the head. So yeah, if you've been scratching your head trying to make sense of it all, you're in very good company. We're going to get it all sorted out right now. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why should you even care? Is this just a bunch of tech jargon? No, not at all. Getting this stuff wrong has massive real-world consequences. Just imagine your team thinks they're building some super smart autonomous system, but what they really have is just a simple predictor. You're basically setting them up to fail, and that costs real time and, you guessed it, real money. Okay, let's dive in. We're going to start at the very bottom, the foundation. Level 1 of our AI stack is the Predictor. You probably know it by its other name, a large language model, or LLM. This is the bedrock. Everything else we talk about today is built right on top of this.
So at its very, very core, an LLM is just a prediction machine. Seriously, that's it. It's been fed a truly mind-boggling amount of text from the internet, from books, from everywhere. And its only job is to look at a sequence of words and make a really, really good guess about which word should probably come next. You give it an input, it gives you an output, full stop.
And honestly, this is the best way to think about it. An LLM is like a brilliant parrot. It can mimic and repeat patterns it's heard with absolutely stunning accuracy. It can sound super intelligent, even profound. But it doesn't actually understand the meaning behind any of the words it's saying. It's just matching patterns. Okay, but here's the part that you really need to get. It's all about what a standalone LLM can't do. And this is so, so important. By itself, an LLM has zero memory of your past conversations. It has no idea what you're actually trying to achieve, that's your intent, and it has absolutely no ability to go out and do something in the real world. It just predicts the next word. That's its whole world.
All right, so now let's build on that foundation. Welcome to level 2 of the stack, the creator. Now, this is what most people are actually thinking of when they say generative AI.
So generative AI takes that powerful prediction engine from the LLM and puts it to work creating brand new stuff. It uses those incredible pattern matching skills to write you an email, to spit out some code, or to dream up an image out of thin air. But the key thing to remember is that it's still just waiting. It's waiting for you to tell it what to do. A great way to picture this is to imagine a team of super talented creative assistants. They are absolutely amazing at what they do. They can write, they can code, they can design, but they just sit there patiently waiting for you, the boss, to come in and give them a project. They're incredible builders, but only when they're asked. Okay, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. We're moving beyond just predicting and creating to actually doing things in the world. This is level 3, the doer. We are now talking about AI agents. An AI agent is a system that can take real action. It uses that LLM we talked about to figure out what you want, your intent, and then it connects to other tools and APIs to actually make it happen. It can book that flight for you, search your company's private database, or fire off an email on your behalf. It's the bridge that connects language to action. But, and this is a huge but, AI agents are not autonomous. Not even close. They're designed to do very specific tasks. They are just following orders. You tell it, hey, book me a flight to Miami for next Tuesday, and it will follow the exact steps to do that. It's not going to wake up one morning, decide you look stressed, and book you a surprise vacation. So a perfect way to think of them is as the executors. They're the tireless worker bees of the AI world. Their entire job is to take the intent that we give them and turn it into a real tangible action out there in the digital world. And that brings us to the top of our stack, the current frontier of AI. This is level 4, the strategist, or what we call agentic AI.
And this is where we make that massive leap from just following orders to something that starts to look a whole lot like true autonomy.
See, an agentic AI is a whole different beast. You don't give it a task, you give it a goal, a high-level objective. It keeps track of its own memory and context, it comes up with its own multi-step plan to hit that goal, and this is the most important part, it decides for itself what to do next. It adapts on the fly without a human holding its hand at every step.
So, how does it actually work? Well, it's this kind of self-correcting loop. You give it an objective, right? Like, increase our sales leads by 10% this quarter. It then creates a plan. It starts executing the steps of that plan. And all the while, it's monitoring its own progress. If something isn't working, it adapts, it course corrects, it optimizes its own plan to stay on track. It's this continuous cycle of planning, doing, and learning.
And that right there, that's the big difference. Agentic AI isn't the worker bee anymore. It's the strategist. It's a system that can see the bigger picture, understand the rules of the game, and make its own choices about not just how to do something, but why.
So, we've climbed the ladder, right? We've gone from simple prediction all the way up to complex strategy. Now, let's bring it all together and talk about why getting these distinctions right is so incredibly important. And this table just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? You can see that progression so clearly. We go from the predictor with zero autonomy to the creator, which just waits for a user. Then we move to the doer, which has limited autonomy because it just follows orders. And finally, to the strategist, which has high autonomy because it orchestrates everything toward a goal. Each level builds on the last one, but it also overcomes a fundamental limitation.
So if there's one thing you remember from all this, let it be this. Moving up the stack isn't just about adding more cool features. No way. It's a fundamental shift. We are moving from prediction to orchestration. We're going from systems that need our explicit commands to systems that have autonomy. And that changes everything.
And why does that matter so much? Because knowing which layer of the stack you're playing on, well, it determines everything. It changes the entire architecture you have to build. It defines the tools you choose. It totally changes the kinds of risks you have to plan for, the value you can create, and maybe most importantly, it clarifies who's accountable when the system makes a choice.
Having this kind of clarity helps us build better and safer AI today, but it also lets us look ahead. Some people are already talking about a level beyond agentic AI, something called emergent intelligence, where systems organize themselves in ways we never even designed. And that leaves us with a final question to chew on. What does that next level of the stack even look like? Thanks for joining this explainer.